Hey guys, welcome back. It's Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
We're going to talk about Star Wars. Now, we don't talk about Star Wars a whole lot anymore on this channel because I think we're kind of burnt out on it.
I think you are more than I am.
I am kind of burnt out.
I still love the original trilogy and the prequels.
I do.
Rogue One and Solo.
I do. It's just that, I mean, I have to admit some of the drama over the last year or so has definitely soured me on all of Star Wars. Like, I'm not nearly as big of a fan as I used to be.
I think that's happened to a lot of people over the last, 2 years.
Yeah, which is sad. I mean, it's really sad that we're kind of in that state. I never thought I would be in the state of just complete...
It's not even been the last year and a half. It hasn't even been 2 years, but it feels like it's 2+ years.
Yeah, it's crazy. And really, a lot of it centers on The Last Jedi and the drama surrounding The Last Jedi. Now, we're only a couple days away from Star Wars Celebration, which we will be at.
Yes.
Ironically enough, we're going to be there. Last minute invite. It's not something we really planned on doing, but we're going to be there. But a lot of the drama centers on The Last Jedi. It's almost like they're trying to clear the table before they ramp up promotion for Episode 9, and there's quasi acknowledgement that, you know, maybe at least from Mark Hamill, maybe some mistakes were made. You know,
well, he's kind of been saying this. This is nothing new.
But I think he's also been gagged. I think he was afraid he wasn't going to appear in Episode 9 if he didn't play ball.
Well, he doesn't have that concern anymore.
He doesn't care. He's letting it fly. So we got a couple stories here. We're going to talk about how the media still continues to defend The Last Jedi, and then, you know, maybe we can speculate as to what the promotion's going to be like for Episode 9.
Oh, I have no idea, but let's see.
Let's
start at the very beginning.
Comicbookresources.com has an article that Star Wars Mark Hamill, that would be Luke Skywalker, doubles down on concern over franchise fatigue. I am fatigued over Star Wars.
Yeah, me too.
So he said that he cautioned Disney and Lucasfilm to pace themselves.
Well, yeah, he was right. A lot of people did, actually.
Well, yeah, because they've never done this before, right? They tried to take Star Wars and turn it into the MCU. And you know, I mean, you can argue as to whether or not, you know, having 2 or 3 good movies a year would actually work for Star Wars, or at least having one solid movie every year would work for Star Wars. But it seems like Lucasfilm is not equipped to handle one movie a year.
They aren't even equipped to handle an overarching story over three movies.
I was going to mention that.
Over several years.
There just seemed to be compared to the MCU, where they planned it out, like I did the video yesterday about Kevin Feige talking about the next 5 years of the MCU. They have it kind of locked down, like where they want to go with things. Star Wars are just making this shit up as they go.
It seems that way.
I mean, that's
not really new for Star Wars and the original much, but
the original, right?
But it doesn't work in this time. And this time now, you need to have, especially when you have, there's not like one person overseeing all, well, there was, but she's not doing her job. But like when you have like, you know, like before it was George Lucas and he was overseeing everything, so it had some kind of continuity and there was somebody making sure that it flowed. In this case, they're like all over the place, which we'll talk about in another article. But they're like all over the place, guys. And there's like nobody. I mean, clearly there was no meeting. There should have been more meetings to make sure it had some kind of continuity instead of just letting people have carte blanche to do whatever, because that's when you run into problems.
I honestly get the feeling that a 4th grader giving an oral report has better notes than they had when making the Star Wars sequel trilogy, the sequel to the most popular science fiction franchise of all time. A 4th grader is better prepared to give an oral report with their note cards, than they were for Star Wars.
And the thing is, when you have a company like Disney, who's known for doing all this, you know, really tight stuff, it's just really weird that it went the way it did. Anyway, go ahead.
So Hamill's talking about the box office underperformance of Solo, a Star Wars story, a movie that grossed $393 million worldwide against a budget of $250 million. I mean, that wouldn't have been a failure if it was anything other than Star Wars.
Well, I think it was because everybody was mad about The Last Jedi and about, it's not even the movie so much as it was the behavior of certain individuals after the film.
Right. I think fans could have maybe overlooked a bad movie. Maybe it's like, okay, well, they struck out, maybe it'll be better next time. And I was kind of in that space, I think, after watching The Last Jedi, where I'm like, God, I hated that movie, but I don't hate the franchise. I'll see where things go with Solo, and I'll see where things go with Episode 9. But I really didn't like that movie. But it was all the attacks on the fandom afterward. A lot of them sanctioned by or performed by Lucasfilm employees,
right?
You know, that just completely blew my mind. Like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this.
Right, or just the internet at large, like this whole idea that if you don't like something that automatically, I don't like Last Jedi, well, automatically you don't like women, or you're a racist. And it's like, what? I just didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't like porgs, like me. I don't know. Maybe you don't like fish nuns. I mean, maybe you don't like weird alien milking things. You know, those aren't make you those things.
That is a niche unto itself.
Yes, right there.
Weird alien milking
if you
things.
Like the fetishes, maybe you didn't like this movie.
I think there's a Tumblr for that. So Hamill says there's a possibility of Star Wars fatigue. He says, yeah, I think there is. I've experienced it to a certain degree, but they never listen to my ideas anyway, so who needs them? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Some of the ideas that he actually had for Star Wars.
Was he serious? Was he kidding?
I think he was serious.
I don't know.
I think he was serious.
He was kidding, but
it seemed like he put a lot of thought into it. So Disney's new streaming service, Disney Plus, announced several more titles within Star Wars, including Clone Wars returning, which is about the only thing I'm excited about. And they're going to do the Mandalorian live action series.
Cassian Andor spin-off. I actually want to see the Cassian.
Oh yeah, Cassian Andor spin-off. I forgot about that.
Might be good.
And they said, would Hamill do it? And he says, make me an offer. So I think, they're just, one, these blogs are looking for anything Star Wars because people are going to be searching for Star Wars news with Celebration coming out this weekend. But I think they're also trying to kind of clear the air that, like, yeah, we acknowledge maybe the fandom's not into it so much. Okay, fine, we're going to address it a little bit. We're not going to take responsibility for it, but we'll address it. And then we're going to go into episode 9.
What I think they're hoping for is that everybody's going to let this one go and just go for 9. But I think there's been so much damage done, and it wasn't even with the movie. It was just with behavior of people on the internet that I don't know if they can.
I don't know if they're going to, because I mean, it's so weird. Like a lot of times, fans will get over a bad movie and they'll come back again if you show them something that's
got something good,
right? And there's so much like just anger, and this isn't like the prequel anger, right? The prequel situation was more, I think, disappointment for a lot of people, but it wasn't the outright vitriol that I'm seeing from a lot of fans because they've basically been given the finger. George Lucas, he wasn't real happy that people didn't like his movies, but he also did listen to some criticism. He, in episode 2 and 3, cut back on Jar Jar Binks. Episode 3 especially felt more like the original trilogy, so he did take some of that criticism in, to heart. But Lucasfilm now thinks they're above it. They think they're above criticism.
I mean, but what's sad to me is that some of it might not even be Lucasfilm. It's just that because these extremists on the internet are out there, waging war on anyone who disagrees with them because they like this movie. And I think that sometimes the stuff is even out of their control. It has a lot to do with it because you're not allowed to not like it. I mean, not even from them. You're just not allowed to not like it because people get mad at you if you don't like it. Heck, I mean, the extremists on both sides, I think, cause problems because if you like something, they jump all over you too. So these extreme people, I think, cause more damage to the franchise, and the media perpetuating these, articles where they're trying to keep everybody's throats, I think perpetuates it. And I think it's just led to a big explosion, and you just made everybody sick of it.
Yeah, and that's just it. And it's going to be really interesting to see if Lucasfilm can win back a good portion of the fandom. I mean, Star Wars, there's no way in hell episode 9 is going to fail at the box office, but I have to wonder if it's not going to underperform. There are so many people that are so jaded, toward the behavior of Lucasfilm, people associated with Lucasfilm, that I don't know. Are they going to go back for repeat viewings? I mean, Star Wars, historically, the repeat viewings is where the money was made. Even the prequels, people. I saw Phantom Menace in the theater 3 times. I didn't even like it that much.
I saw it once, and that was nothing.
But I'm just saying. But
I'd rewatch that again. I would not watch Last Jedi again.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. The Phantom Menace, I saw it in the theater 3 times. I bought the VHS. I bought it on DVD, and I'll probably wind up buying it on digital one of these days. But The Last Jedi, I saw it once in the movie theater, and is the only Star Wars movie we do not own on home video. We even bought Solo We don't own The Last Jedi. I personally, I mean, if you want to watch it, you're more than welcome to. I have no desire to watch it again, ever.
And I'm not going to be mean to somebody who likes it.
Yeah,
You're allowed to like it. The difference between me and other people is, if you like it, that's fine. You do you, that's great. I'm not going to bash you or make fun of you for it. What happens to us is, because we don't like it, we get called all kinds of names. People assume things about us that aren't true. It's a bunch of crap. And I think that's what turned a lot of people off. But anyway, go ahead.
So, speaking of The Last Jedi and even The Force Awakens, because some of the problems people are having with the sequel trilogy can be traced back to The Force Awakens, and the huge missed opportunity, the biggest freaking boneheaded thing that they did was not having the original 3 leads.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Together, even for one scene.
That's what everybody came for. Everybody wanted that. That's what everybody wanted.
When they made the announcement that they were making in episode 7 and they showed the picture of the 3 of them standing together, that they had signed on for it, fans assumed that that's what they were going to get. That's
and why would you not assume that?
Why would you not assume that? Why would you not assume that? So, the fact that Luke was barely in episode 7 and he doesn't even show up, he doesn't get a single line, he doesn't even show up until after Han has died. Apparently, Mark Hamill was not real happy about that.
Well, he has a right to be, because let's be honest, who knows more about what would work with fans better than these guys? Yeah. And he tells them. Anyway, go ahead, show them the article. So. Well,
so this one, again, these are all coming out like bam, bam, bam within a couple days of celebration. So it's like they're trying to, I almost feel like the media is trying to like clear the air, because from here on out, it's going to be all about episode 9. Right. The Last Jedi is dead at this point. It's a dead horse, and they're going to be like, let's just promote episode 9. Boom, 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 boom.
Let's just get through it.
Yeah, let's get through it. So, this is coming from comicbook.com. Star Wars, Mark Hamill claims he pitched a different role for Luke in The Force Awakens. Probably a speaking role.
Yeah, probably.
Probably a speaking role. They said following the announcement that Disney would be moving forward, this is what we talked about. Fans were thrilled at the possibility of seeing Luke, Leia, and Han on the big screen.
Right, that's what I was wondering. That's what everybody thought.
Right, and they all agreed to sign on, and that's what we wanted, but we didn't get this. So this is what Mark Hamill says. He said that everyone talks about the shock of realizing that on Force Awakens, I don't come in until the last page. A bigger shock to me was them killing Han Solo before Luke could ever see his best friend again. Hamill shared with the Hollywood Reporter. I mean, it might be selfishly motivated, but I said, holy cow, that's a real missed opportunity. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, agreed.
Huge missed opportunity. Even having the 3 of us together, even briefly, I pitched Abrams on the idea of, you can still have me come in at the very end, but how about this? How about Leia's trying to contact me telepathically? She gets frustrated because there's no answers, so she rushes to the new Death Star. That's 3 so far.
No, it's Star Killer. It's bigger.
It's bigger. He continued, and she almost gets there, but she gets stopped by 2 stormtroopers, and just before she's abducted, one stormtrooper turns the other one, blows him away, pulls off his helmet, and says, "Hi, sis, I'm here to rescue you." I say, "It'll blow the roof off the joint. I'm still at the very end." Given Hamill's legacy with the series, his ideas for the franchise are valid, though were Luke to have seemingly appeared out of nowhere after being absent for the entire movie, only to recreate a scene from the original Star Wars, it's possible that fans might not have enjoyed rehashing the exchange.
Yeah, have you seen The Force Awakens?
The entire movie was a rehash.
I'm like, really?
Of A New Hope. So, but he does say, regardless, Hamill did note that having Leia and Luke witness Han's death could have made his murder more effective.
Yeah.
I agree. And this is kind of a backhand slap. This is Hamill saying this. I think it's more effective to have people that really have a history with Han witness his death and be unable to stop it, the actor claimed. His wife, the mother of his child, his best friend, instead of 2 characters that have known him for, 20 minutes? But they get the keys to the kingdom, and they're the deciders, so you just have to live with it. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
I don't think he's joking. I think you were like, I think he's maybe tongue-in-cheek. I'm like, no.
No, not that part. I thought originally maybe, but I'm here to rescue sis. I thought that he was.
Well, I think that might have actually been kind of a slap at the fact, because he talked about there being 3 Death Stars, and the fact that...
I know. I was like, a Death Star again?
Yeah, the fact that...
God, this is everything I've been saying. I'm so vindicated.
Well, The Force Awakens, that was my biggest hang-up with it was pretty much beat for beat.
Well, you liked it. I came out of there...
I didn't love it. I mean, I thought it had potential to go somewhere else.
You liked it. I came out of there like, and you're all smiles, and I was like, what the heck? That was just the original trilogy all over again. A New Hope, with a little bit of Jedi and Empire thrown in. Yeah. I was like, and I get it, because it's been a while, you want to have the same tone, you want to get your fans back. And you know what? Fans loved it. You had the fans. You had the fans at hello. even though you should have made them put those three together. You surely have. That was dumb.
Yeah, that was my thing with The Force Awakens was like, okay, that's cool. And I guess I gave it more of a pass because I thought, it was a good, like you said, it was a good reintroduction to classic Star Wars after the prequels, after the Clone Wars. And I thought that they would take it in a better direction than they did. They set all these questions up.
They did set a lot of questions.
And I'm like, okay, well, this is the first of a trilogy. We've got 2 more movies to answer all these questions, and establish these characters and move the plot forward. And The Last Jedi comes out. Not only does it not answer any of the questions.
No, it answers a couple, but it makes it underwhelming.
Yeah, they're non-answers, but they also perform character assassination on Luke Skywalker. They perform a character assassination on the new characters because they
Only the male ones.
Only the male ones. They were much more likable in the first movie than they were in the second movie, and it doesn't move the plot forward at all.
They're right back where they started.
Yeah, by the end of The Last Jedi, they have not moved at all. Like nobody
Except Luke's gone now.
Except Luke is dead and Rey's got a bunch of books. That's basically where they're at. Other than that, we're exactly where we left off. And it felt like a filler. It felt like a filler story. It didn't even feel like it needed to be a movie. And whereas you look at the other 2 trilogies, and most of the major plot points happened in the second act. Empire Strikes Back. That's where we get the big reveal about Vader. Spoiler. Vader being Luke's dad. And, so that we got that, and Luke training to be a Jedi. And Han getting frozen and all of that. We had some major plot points happening in that. Look at the prequels. The Clone Wars begin in the second episode, which sets the tone for, a whole another series, and the rest of the nothing happens in The Last Jedi. Nothing happens. They introduce new characters who are utterly worthless.
Well, the one dies
pointless.
for no reason.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what the point of Rose is, other than to show love is the best thing ever, and take people's choices away. I don't like it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, to this
I'm not sorry. So this leads us into, poor choices being made with Star Wars. Screen Rant. J.J. Abrams admits Rian Johnson took Star Wars 8 in a different direction. No shit, because it did not feel like the natural continuation of Force Awakens. It felt like a totally different beast. Mm-hmm. Not in a good way. Not in a, whereas Empire was darker than the original Star Wars, it still felt like it was part of the same universe. It felt like a natural continuation. This movie just felt like a bad fanfic.
I don't know. It was awful.
A bad fanfic.
I'm sorry, Disney. It was bad. I'm sorry.
But now at least J.J. Abrams is admitting it. He admits the original ideas for the film would eventually become The Last Jedi were different than what Rian Johnson ended up doing with the project. But of course, they can't have dissent in the ranks. They can't be, backbiting each other, except for Mark Hamill,
he doesn't care anymore.
He doesn't give a shit. Johnson was hired for episode 8 way back in 2014, tasked with, and he was like a nobody. Tasked with continuing the story Abrams began in 2015's The Force Awakens. We thought Abrams would at least
They do kind of. They say they do sit down, but from our understanding, they did. But it's kind of, you'll see. Just
few would have predicted it at the time, but The Last Jedi infamously went on to be the most divisive blockbusters. One of the most divisive blockbusters in recent memory. I think is probably the most divisive.
I would say it was probably the most.
And it's definitely the most divisive Star Wars movie, with Johnson's bold and risky creative choices acting as a lightning rod for countless debates. Is that what we're calling it now?
We're calling it now debates. I mean, people call you misogynistic, racist, whatever. It's just because they're debating you.
Yeah. During the build-up, Johnson stated he had tremendous amount of leeway.
Kidding.
That was the problem. The problem, like we've said multiple times, and Geeky just said earlier on this show, the problem is they needed to have a pretty clear-cut idea. Maybe not all of the plot points, maybe not everything, but they need to have a basic idea of where they were going.
Usually when you do things like this, and I know when we do writing and books, and you're going to have multiple, you know your beginning, you know your end, you know the key plot points, you know where they're going to fall. And then if you want to toy with some stuff in between that, you can, and you can put your own personal touches on it there. But it needed to have a direction. They all needed to stick with it. It needed to be cohesive. And it is lacking cohesiveness, like so much. I think that's what turns a lot of people off.
Yeah. Well, here's what happened. So while Lucasfilm didn't mandate Johnson follow any preconceived
Can't
plot
believe
points,
that. They know better.
God, just a freaking sticky note.
They know better.
This guy was a nobody. They literally
but Lucasfilms knows better than this. Go ahead.
That doesn't mean there wasn't any brainstorming going on in regards to where the sequel trilogy could go next. Daisy Ridley once revealed that Abrams mapped out drafts for the remaining 2 chapters.
He probably did, because that's what most people who know what they're doing do.
Right, but popular belief is that Johnson went his own direction. Abrams has now said that was the case.
Which we've said months ago.
Oh my God, you don't take the most successful science fiction franchise of all time, billions and billions of dollars on the line.
Millions, billions of fans.
And just wing it. They just...
This isn't like the first movie when you could just wing it because you didn't have an audience yet, you know?
Right, and Rian Johnson, you did not have the Force. You couldn't hit the hole. You didn't blow up the Death Star. You blew up the fandom, that's for damn sure. You cost Disney, and by extension, Kathleen Kennedy cost Disney so much money because the movie landed with a thud. Solo did not do well at the box office because the fans were still pissed off about The Last Jedi. Merchandise sales have been in the toilet.
Well, I heard a lot of people say that, just general people who aren't on the internet, they just don't care anymore.
No, they don't care.
Like I said before, I've said it many times. Anger, love, you're hating and loving something, that's passion. That doesn't, you have people. When they're apathetic and they don't care, that is the worst possible place to be. And a lot of people don't care anymore.
Yeah, people are still like angry at each other. Sometimes there's still you still have that like you can still get back in their good graces because they care enough to be angry.
Yeah, they're angry. That means they still care. So you still have a chance to get them back.
Right.
But not when they don't care anymore.
No.
And they're just like, I'm out, I'm done.
Yep, and that's where we're at with Star Wars. So, we had an interview in Fast Company, talked about Abrams. This is part touched on Abrams' return to Star Wars. The director talked about having to follow Johnson's film in order to serve up a satisfying conclusion to Skywalker saga. It's like he took the car out it's like Ferris Bueller, right? Cameron took the car out for a spin, and it came back, and there was like a whole lot of miles on it. Now they got to roll back the miles, but I think they're going to back the Ferrari out the window, and that's going to be it. Mm-hmm. That's going to be it if they don't do it right. So I had some gut instincts about where the story would have gone, but without getting in the weeds on episode 8, that was the story that Rian wrote and was telling based on 7 before we met. Before we even met, he knew what he wanted to do to poor Luke. So he was taking the thing in another direction, so we also had to respond to episode 8. So our movie was not just following what we had started, it was following what we had started and then had been advanced by someone else. It's vital to understand that Abrams is not bemoaning or criticizing Johnson.
Oh, I'm sure he says something.
I think this is sort of, he's trying to be professional, kind of like Mark Hamill was trying to be professional when he was on tour, but you could tell there was some
because
dissatisfaction.
When you work in these industries, you work with people. Like this is why people get mad at us about why we don't do more videos, just pounding on people. And it's like, because you have to understand, we have to handle ourselves professionally, even when we're mad about something, because we still work in these industries, and we can say what we want to say, and there's no need to go there unless you have proof or whatever. So
yeah, and I think beyond that, it's easy to dismiss someone who comes off like a raving lunatic,
right?
Who's constantly moaning and bitching and moaning and whatever. But when you have people put forth well-reasoned articles and videos and whatever, it's a little harder to dismiss those people. I think J.J. Abrams is saying it without saying it, that he's not real happy where he's at, because now he has to fix the mess.
He has to clean the mess, yeah.
It's vital to understand that, he's not bemoaning. He went on record to say the polarizing Last Jedi reactions did not influence his approach.
Bull crap.
No.
I call bull on that.
Might not have influenced his decisions, but I guarantee you the bean counters at Disney were like, you better make a damn movie that makes us $1 billion, $2 billion at the box office.
That's the most successful one of all.
It's got to be the biggest Star Wars of all. It's got, and that we'll talk about that after this, like where they're probably going to go with episode 9. He's merely explaining that the film changed story directions while it was in development, which isn't anything new for the film industry.
Wait, yeah, okay, it's not new for film industry that a film in development changes directions. Okay, but what's weird is you don't have a 3-film trilogy and you change directions in the middle of it. That does not happen. That's not what happens. That's bull. Development maybe, but not after they started. Gosh.
Yeah. The whole okay, so now Screen Rant's going to play apologist. The whole point of bringing in a unique voice like Johnson is to give him a chance to flex his storytelling muscles and craft something he could proudly call his own.
I'm glad he's proud of it.
It's not his. It's not his. It'd be counterintuitive to box him in and limit what The Last Jedi was capable of.
Well, then it was counterintuitive to box any director in ever with a storyline, a preconceived IP.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an IP that has certain guidelines and a certain audience. You cannot just do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, so last year Simon Pegg hinted that Abrams had a different idea for Rey's parentage. Yeah, I don't think she
figured that one out.
Yeah, I don't think she was supposed to be a nobody. Fans will likely never know the full extent of the variances between the two visions. After episode 9 comes out, I guarantee you the stories are going to come out and people are going to be like, oh, damn. You know, just like Mark Hamill being like, oh, damn, that's a much better idea than what they actually did.
Back to The Force Awakens, they really should have put the trio together.
They should have. At this point, it's all moot. Regardless of what Abrams had in mind, The Last Jedi happened exactly the way it did. And now it's up to Abrams and Chris Terrio to fix it, to honor that, while moving the trilogy forward to its conclusion.
Wait, it's up to them to honor how they did The Last Jedi. But there was no honor for what came before The Last Jedi. But now you have to honor The Last Jedi. So that's the thing. You have to honor it, but they didn't. But I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be honest. Johnson didn't honor what came before it. And
he took a steaming piss on it and then laughed.
Yeah.
When the fans got mad.
Yeah, and taunted the fans.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, and so basically, it's like, they never know. It is a moot point. It is, because it's done, and what's done is done. But now it's up to them to fix it, which is basically what they're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. It'll be interesting to see what they came up with, and hopefully it ends the Skywalker saga on the highest of notes.
Well, I hope so too.
I don't think they can fix it.
I'm hoping. I'm hopeful. I mean, I don't think they can fix it either, but I'm going to stay on the positive side. Because maybe they can't, even though I don't think they can.
They've got stock footage of Carrie Fisher. They do not have Harrison Ford. They performed a character assassination on, and then killed Luke Skywalker, other than coming back as a Force ghost for a couple of minutes.
Or saying it was all some kind of dream or something, which would be the best way to handle it. But.
Yeah, I still say Rey is still in the magic hole of darkness on Octo, and she's still there, and all of this was just a bad dream. This is a premonition.
This is all a test.
This is all a test of what could have gone wrong. I don't think they can fix it, but I think what they're going to do with episode 9 starting this weekend is they're going to bang the nostalgia drum.
Yeah, there are a lot of the things that keep going back to the original trilogy on. A lot of the merch we're seeing for Celebration is original trilogy. I think they're going to really push the original trilogy, because that's what, no matter which side you're on, everybody can agree on that.
Well, that's what they're doing in the parks already. They're doing it in the theme parks. You're seeing mostly original trilogy merchandise. You're seeing it in stores. You're seeing mostly original trilogy toys. They're making new toys, but it's mostly original trilogy stuff. They're going back to what works. I think they're going to just they're acknowledging that in a roundabout way that mistakes were made with The Last Jedi. They're going to pretend it didn't happen, and they're just going to I'm actually thinking that the way they're going to set this up is that you could probably watch episode 7 and episode 9, skip episode 8, and you're not going to miss that much.
I hope so, because we didn't buy 8.
Yeah, because I'm like, I really think that's how, I think episode 9 is going to be a sequel to The Force Awakens, using some of the ideas that Abrams probably had for the whole trilogy, because really nothing major other than Luke dying, nothing major happened.
Which can be undone, actually.
It can be undone.
I'm just saying, it was funny because I've told the story before, but in case anybody's new to the channel, when we went to see Avengers, Infinity War, there are people in the theater. The theater was packed, totally packed tight, no seats available.
Yeah,
and it was full of a lot of college kids and a lot of younger people. And when they ran the commercial for Solo, people went to the bathroom. They didn't care. And then the people in front of us, there was a group of these guys in front of us, and they were all talking about how they were not going to buy The Last Jedi on DVD because it sucks so bad. And these were their target audience, and they said they weren't going to buy it because it sucks so bad. So when they try to say it's just certain people, certain age groups, certain whatever, that is not true. No. And for me, I still love Star Wars. I do. I love the original trilogy. I don't mind the prequels that much. I liked Rogue One. I don't mind Solo that much. And The Force Awakens, I will watch again. It's not my favorite, but you know what? I can give it a pass. But The Last Jedi, I just can't do it, guys. I'm sorry. And if that makes me a bad person, it makes me a bad person, because I don't like one movie and how many? So far, there's 10.
Yeah, there's 10. Yes,
10 movies, and I don't like one of them.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I'm horrible. And it's like I have been promoted. I'm really excited about the theme park, the Galaxy's Edge. I'm super thrilled about that. Super excited to go to Celebration. I always wanted to go. I still love the books. I just don't like this movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be interesting to see. I think this is the last you're going to hear about The Last Jedi from Lucasfilm. I think they're going to quietly pretend it didn't exist as they promote Episode 9. And I really think they're going to push Episode 9 as being the conclusion to the original trilogy, to the classic. And they're going to beat the nostalgia. They're going to beat that nostalgia drum hard. They're going to give you the feels. They're going to go, for Episode 1, the teaser trailer was like every saga has a beginning. I'm waiting for Episode 9 to be like every saga has an end, and then like show all these flashbacks to the much better Star Wars movies, and really get people to feel it again, and then not show anything from Episode 8 and just pretend it didn't happen, and then just kind of pick up from there. That's what I'm expecting.
I'm thinking so too. And it's like when you have a legacy like this, you cannot, and this is the same thing we're seeing in comics and other things too, you cannot just change it willy-nilly because you want to. There is, whether you like it or not, whether they're, these extremists like it or not, there still is a core audience that expects a certain thing that represents a product of a certain way. You cannot just make random changes like that and be like, you have to just take it because we said so. It doesn't work that way.
That's the problem. They don't view it as like a product that has to please an existing audience. They view it, and they don't even view it as art, I don't think. They view it as like a platform for political beliefs or ideologies or whatever. And it doesn't, for their vision. It doesn't matter if it makes money or not. It matters to look. I mean, it matters to us because we own Disney stock. So if your products don't perform, it matters to us because we own a little bit of that company, and you're letting us down. But Disney needs, especially with Dumbo underperforming, and a lot of movies they had that come out last quarter underperformed. They need a hit. They need a huge hit. Now, Captain Marvel did better than they expected it to.
Endgame's gonna kick all kinds
Endgame's gonna make.
We all know it.
Endgame's gonna make enough money to like single-handedly bankroll Disney Plus probably, but their other movies aren't performing, so they're banking hard on Marvel and on Star Wars. And if Star Wars starts to falter, I don't think Marvel, as well as Marvel's doing, is going to be able to pick up the slack for Star Wars too. So they're going to be really pushing this one, and they're going to make sure it doesn't fail. You thought they resorted to some tactics for Captain Marvel?
Just wait.
You just wait. Episode 9, you'll never see any promotion pushing as hard as Episode 9. So
probably, I agree with you.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Okay, guys. So please subscribe to CLOWNFISH TV for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, art videos, and more. We will be in Celebration this weekend. Hopefully, we'll post some videos from there. Maybe a live stream. We'll see if we feel like it. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching CLOWNFISH TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.